Sorry. Hello and welcome back to the Hill. This is the second part to the Liberty Party versus Union Party debacle interview. Today we have two members of the Union Party discussing their side of the story and kind of responding to the LP's story that was posted earlier. I am Senator Nine, also the chairman of the Hill. With that being said, let's introduce the two Union Party members. On the left is a bunch of tags. Are you typing your thing? Dr. Doge Alt. Okay, and a representative within the party. Alright, and then on the right of Doge is.
Ray. I am the House Majority Leader and Chairman of the Union Party.
Alrighty. Thank you both for coming to this interview. I know you wanted to share your side and kind of just talk a bit with us, yeah. Just kind of what the process is. So, with that being said, I think that should be the first question. So, what sparked your comments, Majority Leader, today?
Yeah, of course. Well, first of all, thank you for having us and hearing our side. So, I think it's important if we go over kind of like how they did the events that transpired today. So, we of course had our first session. Um, the first point is that I arrived sort of late after taking, well, not really late, but like right when they were taking attendance. And I immediately just sat next to the House Minority Leader and the Speaker Pro Tempore. Um, I was not aware of the rule that said I had to sit with my own caucus. In a certain way, I was just sitting there because it was convenient. And another way, I was like, oh, well, party lines don't matter. I'll just sit with them. And, we all love bipartisanship, stuff like that. Um, as the session continued, the speaker did make some mistakes that were pointed out by the minority leader and the SPT. And yeah, so that's what happened. And then you asked about my comments. So the minority leader, after the session, made a statement where I believe he stated, um, he was disappointed in how it went, and that he really named all the things, including my sitting with them, and yeah, and he said that he hopes that we would listen to his advice. Now, I'd like to say that we do listen to the advice. We are open to criticism. My reply to him was sort of a reply in total to the, I want to say, the feeling or the vibe I've been getting from the Liberty Party, which is that they are not open to bipartisanship. They quite effectively are just, not just, but they're persistent in attacks no matter how minor they are. So in my response, I stated that, with my own advice, that they could encourage their members to show up to the session. Now, this is a whole other thing, so it's a lot. And it's best if we stay focused. Um, so do you have another question?
Sure. I think when I first talked to the Liberty Party, the first thing I mentioned was that this whole issue kind of started with, quote, a messy session. Uh, what would you say your thoughts are on that? Do you believe it was, quote, messy? And do you think all this should have occurred just because of a messy session?
Yeah, well, listen, I won't deny it. The session today was not perfect. Um, Certainly not to the level that I've seen it in the past. I've been in the House for a while now. There have been, sessions where people in the balcony cause a big scene, where even representatives speak out of turn a lot. So I want to give the context of it wasn't that messy compared to, some other ones, but it was not perfect. Um, we've been used to some kind of experienced leadership, most recently under Aiden. Um, I think Owner was speaker for a while, so he got to be really good at presiding over the session. And then now we have a new speaker. It was his first session, and mistakes were made and pointed out. So I will agree. I will agree that it was not perfect. I wouldn't say it was messy. I will say it wasn't perfect, and mistakes were made.
All right. Anything to add, Representative Doge? To either the first comment he made or this recent comment? I hope my mic is picking up. All right. Any comments to any additional comments, I should say, to what Ray has kind of discussed this far? No. All right. Then I'll move on to my next question, or kind of ask. Um, at four, no, yes, actually, at 4:39 p.m. EST in the statements channel, Speaker Pro Tempore Revo stated, quote, "I'd like to respond to Mr. Ray's recent comments, calling everything we post in this channel as a, quote, petty political attack, end quote, is simply, pardon my terminology, ridiculous. We offered our advice publicly and respectfully because we believe transparency is important. Um, Actually, earlier, Ray, you stated that they aren't as, they don't actually uphold their values as they say they do. What do you specifically have to say to that comment? That he essentially calls your comment towards the minority leader ridiculous and just kind of outright undermining what you've basically said, what you basically commented.
Hmm. Right. So first, I'll address the transparency, and then I'll um, wait. What was called ridiculous again? I'm sorry.
Quote, petty political attack, which I believe you stated, yep, quote, uh, in an earlier post at 418, the Liberty Party caucus must realize that bipartisanship cannot happen in an
Mhm.
environment of,
Got it.
okay,
Right. So transparency, and then I'll talk about the bipartisan ship that I talked about in my statement.
sure,
So concerning transparency, transparency has been an important and pervasive issue, and rightly so, in the government, in Congress, the executive branch, legislative branch, for years now. Everyone likes transparency. We can all agree with that. No one's saying transparency is bad, least of all myself. What I sort of object to or squint my eyes is its use so flagrantly in this situation when what happened was, I would say, um, mistakes of the presiding officer, made by the speaker, and of course, my accident when I sit with the wrong caucus. These are issues which don't happen very often in the House, probably more so than in the Senate, but certainly they have never been addressed in a statement. And this is something that I commented in my statement. Nothing like this has ever happened before where a party makes a statement addressing infractions of the rules, small infractions, I believe they are, during the session. So this idea that, oh, we have to be transparent to the public about this, it's like, to me, it feels more so, it feels disingenuous. They're not really concerned about transparency to the public because it's not a big thing. I doubt anyone in the public would care about these small infractions over, procedural issues. Um, and concerning bipartisanship and the bigger environment that I talked about, from the start of the term, I've felt that the Liberty Party is trying to gain reputation, gain political wins, which I think they should. It's good that we have this political drama. I believe some political drama is healthy for the community. It makes things interesting. However, it's also important to point out that that's what this is, and that um, you know they campaign, and the Union Party campaigns on this too, bipartisanship. But we have to think: do we want real partisanship, or are we just saying this? The constant nitpicking, and I call it nitpicking, and because that's what I believe it is, on these small mistakes, and it happens again and again from them. And so, if we want true bipartisanship, like I said, this can't continue. It feels silly, and we have two roads: true bipartisanship, where we work together and we actually have an environment where people learn and grow, and we encourage others, or you know, kind of petty. Maybe it can grow into actual good, interesting drama between the political parties. Right now, it seems like we're going down the former. Um, and it has its benefits. It's interesting to observe. But in that case, I'm going to act in a way, and I'll call it out to address that political drama because I have a duty to my caucus and to my party to make sure that, you know, we're showing our best. And if someone calls us out in an unfair way, I'm going to call them out right back. And I'll leave it at there because, I don't want to ramble on for too long.
All right, thank you. Any additional comments, Representative Doge? Yes. All right, go ahead. I'll be reading your comments, by the way, just so Ray can also, hear. Ray, seems like you disconnected, by the way.
Sorry, could you repeat that?
I said it seems like you've disconnected.
Oh, in the game?
Mm-hmm.
In the game?
Yes.
Oh, I'm sorry. I can't really join back, so I'll just continue in VC.
All right, that's fine. Doge, are you still typing? I don't see anything you said. Yes. All right. Then Ray, I'll just tell you. I'll just tell you
Mhm.
what he says. There we go. Doge said, although the last session was quite quote messy, the Liberty Party calling us out just because of a few small errors seems unnecessary. I want to say that I've made a few friends within the LP party, comma. This is the real Robloxian interview right here. You're good, Doge. It's just funny. This is like the type of interview, I don't know, 2021 would do.
Hey, I mean, remember gins? They weren't bad.
Yeah. Shout out to his organization, by the way. Just brief little shout out. And then Doge says, and I think this just fosters a hostile environment within the House. After all, aren't we here to represent the people, not argue through statements? Is that all, or are you continuing on? Yep. All right. I believe that is true. I think the Hill has also tried to state that within many posts personally that the House, tries to that this new Congress is hope that the Hill, sorry, hopes that the new Congress, the 70th Congress, tries to be a representation to the people who elected them. So I do agree. Um, but yeah, it is a bit worrying that the two parties have kind of escalated the situation, um, all because of a quote messy again. Some people say messy, some others don't, but quote messy first session with Speaker of the House. Um, Ray Bans. Yes, majority leader. Um, let's see. There was something I was just looking at here, and I think it's very important to talk about if I can find it again.
Mhm.
Where was it?
Wait, before I just really quick because I want to piggyback on what Doge mentioned about not like knowing them a whole lot down in the Liberty Party.
Go ahead.
I just want to say a quick word, really quick. Just super quick. this use of the word personal. Oh, personal attack, personal. This stuff is lightweight, okay? I barely know anyone in the Liberty Party. I've known Rev a bit longer than the rest, and I'd like to know them more. But the fact that they're calling for apologies, like, oh, it feels like a personal attack. It's not personal. This is politics. So, and I'll end it there.
All right. I have finally found what I was looking for. Uh, in the same statement at 4:39 p.m. that the Speaker pro tempore made regarding the petty political attack, he also stated toward the end that, quote, responding to nitpicking with further nitpicking will only make stuff worse, and I believe that giving us fake and ironic advice regarding our caucus attendance is disrespectful and something that we will no longer tolerate, especially given the fact that I justified Representative, I believe you say CU's, uh, PTYSIU's absence on the House floor by saying that his phone had been dead for the whole day and that he had an unexpected event to deal with, which surfaced just 2 hours before the session. Um, this was in response to your statements of, like, quote, hiding behind the veneer of goodwill advice, the comments of those statements. What do you have to say to that? That he's essentially,
Right.
again, downplaying your comments,
Sorry.
your suggestions. No, you're good. Just downplaying your comments as fake and ironic. That's those type of statements.
All right. And I just want to say really quick, let me know if you need me to repeat or stop me if I'm cutting out in and out too much. You're starting to cut in and out for me, so I just want to make sure I'm clear.
Yeah, you're good.
Okay. Yes. So in my response, I said maybe the leaders can encourage their representatives to actually show up to the sessions. Now, do I believe there's anything wrong with missing one or even two if they proxy sessions? No, not really. What I did is I got on their level and I gave a petty, stupid attack that doesn't really matter. Of course, I don't blame Theidecker, or Pete Tsu, for missing the sessions. Of course, they have IRL reasons. Um, and especially Theidecker responded that he felt personally attacked, that I was going after him, when really I addressed the whole statement to Mr. Rev and Mr. Josh. I didn't address him or Tsu at all. Um, so of course I don't blame them. My light jab at them was just one to make in kind to the ones that they made towards us. Um, yeah.
All right, thank you. Representative Doge, any additional comments? Doge says, I guess. All right, go ahead. Doge says, I think this could have been handled better. Don't take it personally, Ray, but attacking them just because a few of the representatives missed a session, I mean, you're just the same as the Liberty Party. I believe,
Yeah.
yes. Not
Mm-hmm.
fixed.
Yeah.
Quote. I feel like there's gonna be a but in there. There's always a but. He says lowering to their level isn't good. I just think that these petty attacks shouldn't have been even made. Is that all? Uh, Judge says yes, I think so. All right. Well, with that being said, Ray, would you like to respond to your own member who also kind of agrees that basically trying to get on their level was not necessarily the way to go regarding this kind of situation?
Yeah. Well, first of all, thank you, George, for expressing that to me. Good communication was welcome. Um, yeah, I mean, in my mind, there were two ways to pass to move forward after they made their statement. We could either go along with this narrative that, oh, like the speaker and the House Majority Leader have to learn from these mistakes, and it was very disappointing to see this when, it was the first session of a first-time speaker. I didn't think it was that big of a deal. And the second option was going on their level, and I chose the second option because I didn't agree with the narrative they push. Uh,
Oh, you're cutting out.
oh, did you get everything? Or
No, I got the part where it said I didn't agree with their approach, I believe you said?
yeah, I guess I said I didn't agree with their narrative, and so I chose to go on their level and drag it out the way it went.
Alright, is that all? Is that all?
Yes, that's all. Sorry.
Alright. Um, Doge, do you wanna kind of comment on what he said or no? Doge says I still think oh no, I still think Ray should have chosen the first option, is what Doge said. Ray, any
Mhm.
other comment or just kind of like understanding?
Yeah, I respect that, and moving forward, I hope that I am able to take the first option.
Alright, then actually it is kind of funny that we are in this kind of topic of the second option, because ironically, in the interview with the LP members, Revocate, the Speaker Pro Tempore, actually stated that this is kind of in regards to I believe it was a question regarding your choice to sit with the opposing caucus. Obviously, you said that you weren't aware of the rules within the standing rules, House standing rules. Um, and I had asked them a question regarding whether they believe, that deserves like punishment, whether whether they feel like it deserves any kind of reprimand, and they kind of went with the better option of no, just basically just be aware next time, that type of situation. However, there was a comment made by Rivo that I can't really forget, which was that he basically states he has made aggressive statements before, he has threatened people before, and he wouldn't,
Oh yeah, I heard that.
yeah, he would not be opposed to essentially threatening you or the Union Caucus, if if something like this were to happen again. What would you say to that? Again, this is kind of an irony, given that you guys, we're talking about you should have chose the better option, but so what do you say to that?
Yeah, I mean, I thought the way you asked the question was also kind of funny. Like you said, like, "Oh, is this going to escalate into like physical?" Is like, I don't know. It's kind of weird because obviously this isn't going to go anywhere. Like even in go. So let's see. Sorry. Could you that it would escalate? Oh, punishments, right? Um, well, yes. One thing I did agree with them during their interview was that they said, "We'll call it out," and I completely agree with that. What they did during the session, which is they asked to be recognized, the speaker recognized them, and they pointed out the faults when the speaker made them. And they pointed out that I should be sitting with my caucus, and the speaker ordered me to move, and I moved. And I believe that that was absolutely and utterly perfect. And I believe it should have ended there. I don't believe that it needed to be made into a whole statement and then on top and on top of that. Um, so, sorry, could you repeat your question again? I think I missed a part.
Basically, just kind of your thoughts on his statements regarding that he's had he's been aggressive before, aggressive statements before, he's threatened people before, um, and that he would do the same if it was necessary. Kind of commenting on that fact.
Yeah. Well, I don't know what to say. I mean, no. I'll just assume he kind of means his kind of typical manner, previous actions where he's like, called people out. He's been open. I forget who it was. I think he did it with like Leoner. Uh, I forget what the whole thing was, but like he called him out, and it was like CJ General. Um, Yeah, that's fine. I mean, it certainly matches up with what I've seen and experienced thus far in the term, where he wants to be combative, and I don't really have a problem with that. Because again, drama between the parties, it hasn't really happened in like a long while. It's interesting to watch. Um, but obviously, when you use dirty means or petty means, like the ones they use today, I'm going to call it out and use that to my own advantage in the sort of political battle. Um, but yeah, I'm not too concerned about, what he said, uh, threatening people or whatever. Yeah. It's- yeah, that's it.
All right. Well, Doge said he's AFK, so I'm just gonna kind of ask you another question. Um. So basically,
Sure.
in oh yeah, he's back. But anyways, so basically, in your opinion, this whole, I guess, how do I say this? If you want to call it tantrum, although it's not necessarily a tantrum, but if you wanted to, this whole tantrum between both parties shouldn't have even started. It should have ended with the fact that you were compliant, in moving seats. You weren't aware, as you've stated, and you were, you even apologized for it, and that you were just only being sarcastic or having the language that they used on you to kind of, just kind of go back on them, to just show them how that what they were, to basically have the type of tone that they had towards you is basically. what I'm trying to say. So you believe that this just shouldn't have happened. Like there was really no need for this type of back and forth between both
Hmm.
parties. That's fine.
Yeah. And I'll mention this because I believe that, it's only fair. The minority leader did tell me um, during the session while, I was sitting right next to him, Ray, like, move to your own party. Um, he technically spoke out of turn, should have been recognized, but now I'm being petty. So he did try and tell me without, telling the speaker to move me, to move. And, I appreciate that. Um, but yeah, I agree. It should have ended there when they pointed out to the speaker and they asked the speaker to move me. Um, it should have ended there, but it's gonna escalate, and I'm certainly not gonna back down when I believe that what they're saying is kind of crazy and untrue, and they aren't either, which is fair. No one wants to be seen as the loser. Um,
Agreed.
But like I said, with this first option, the first option of like true bipartisanship, we're gonna need to stop it there. We're not gonna, there are a lot of things I could say about Jarev, and all the little jabs I can make, but I just don't like doing that because it's just cheap. And like we've seen good political drama, we've seen Chris Gate, we've seen the other scandals. This stuff just doesn't hold any water. It's just, if we're gonna fight, let's just make it more interesting for the public. But yeah, again, if we're gonna go with true bipartisanship, let's just be honest. Let's just be chill and work together, and not be like super like actually, So yeah, I'll end it there.
uh, Doge, any representative Doge, any additional comments to what the majority leader stated or commented on? Sure, you're right. Go ahead. There is a lot of radio noises happening in game.
If he's going on for a while, Nine, would you just let me know piece by piece what he's saying?
Yeah, no, he hasn't. He hasn't said anything yet. Just kind of waiting. I'm just listening to the beautiful noises of radio chatter going off. He says in caps, "Bear with me." Alright, he says to add on to that, I really liked how our speaker diffused the situation through simply releasing a statement. So credit to him for that. He's the person of bipartisanship. Yeah, he's the person of bipartisanship. Bipartisan, bipartisanship.
Bipartisanship.
Uh,
It's tough.
and then he said, "Yeah, don't know if I worded that wrong. Was it meant to be a question? Were you trying to say like why? Okay. Oh, so so it wasn't meant to be a question. Okay, so scratch the question mark portion. So it should have been, I think it was something about he's the, yeah, whatever. So scratch the question. So you're trying to say that that's the type of speaker you you like, that he addressed the situation, is what you meant, right? Is that what you were trying to kind of imply? He addressed the situation, apologized, all that. Or were you trying to imply something different? Oh, and now we're getting shot. Yeah, I mean, he's the presiding officer. He's supposed to be neutral. I have been killed, and yeah, we are both dead right now. Alright, then let's see. I guess I will just kind of talk while I'm in Capitol Hill because I'm too lazy to go back. So, I guess my new little news station is the press area podium. So,
Before we can just add on really quickly to what Doge said.
yep,
Yeah, I mean, Vinny came to me. He said, you know, I've heard their side, I've heard your side. And he said, I'm going to get involved. And I don't know if you read his statement, but in his statement, he condemned both sides. He to work together. I think he's really trying to do
your mic is
for true
cutting out.
bipartisanship. And, oh, sorry, what did I end at?
You're really like robot.
Oh, oh, sorry.
Alright,
Should I leave and rejoin, or will that ruin the recording?
no, you're good. Yeah, you can stay. There's just that one moment.
Oh, okay. Where did I end at?
No, I have like no idea because it was just roboting.
Okay. Well, I just wanted to say that, like, I think it's the sign of a good leader. And from Vinny that he made that statement, condemn both sides. I think he's truly looking for true bipartisanship. And yeah, that's it.
Alright, Vinny, since I can no longer really see your chat, I'm just gonna have to go through text, like what you either DM or just text in the group chat, and I'll just kind of read it out loud as if you were on the line, as if I just called you magically, miraculously. Um, Never mind, I lied. You are right here, miraculously again. Uh, so any comments
Bro has
or
admin.
magic? Yes, this is like editing magic, manual editing magic. Anyways, so any comment, additional comments rather? Nope. All right, then such a weird way to angle this. Let me just angle this way. And then, all right, all right, and then I think really lastly, is there any? Do you feel that the Union Party? Actually, no. Sorry, I do have an additional question. Apologies. You stated earlier, or a little bit um, earlier, Majority Leader, that if they do want to fight, if they do want a confrontation, like through the whole statements, that there should be a little bit more on the line. Not like like anything dangerous, but just more something actually to argue about. So are you for the public to kind of view? Are you suggesting that they do throw something more personal, something to actually start a little bit of a party battle between both parties?
Oh no. Well, I don't know what I'd be subjecting myself to. I don't know. Rev is a man of as many secrets. Not that he has many secrets, but like he knows a lot.
Hmm.
Um, I
Obviously, I
mean,
advise
listen,
being.
I
I just want to say I would advise being careful of what you say because when Rev DMs me, it may be one way or the other.
yeah, yeah, and I have stuff on him. But anyways, I would be game. I think it may just be my personal preference, and from everything I've seen in OSF, I'm approaching my soon-to-be fourth year anniversary of joining the group. That um, the stuff like what happened today is just not worth. Like, well, in one sense, I think any coverage and any kind of drama like this is beneficial because it's out of the ordinary. It's something new. Um, and do I want it to escalate? Not really. I mean, I don't see any reason unless again there is something true. Like for example, if the Union Party had a horrible secret or it did something completely outrageous, like say we tried to impeach a representative for a political gain, then like absolutely. I mean, that's an extreme, so I'm straw manning it a bit, but I think. Oh, and this is actually what I wanted to end on. Before we talk about escalation, it's I think it's important to remember, and I've tried to keep this in mind as I've had to defend the party in the caucus, is that we can't let any of this affect the actual work that we have to do in Congress. The Unionists and the Liberty Party may fight, but our common enemy is the idea that the House is very, um, shall we say, not the cream of the crop. It's kind of goofy and it fluctuates, but I think it's always great when the house does do good work and when people do respect the house. So while this fighting, may be fun if it is like actually interesting drama, um, the actual work, like passing good legislation, good amendments to the House standing rules, um, calling people to committees and having hearings. I certainly don't think no matter how interesting the drama is or whatever, that it should come at the cost of that. And I will continue to work with Mr. Revocate and Mr. Josh towards those good things that kind of give credibility to the house and are good works. And that's it. Yeah.
All right, thank you. Representative Doge, any additional comments? As we are nearing the end of this interview. Nope. He says no. I don't think I have any. All right, then one last question. This is more just of like any remarks type of question. So, Majority Leader, do you have any remarks or anything to say to the other party regarding, again, just kind of summarizing this whole situation, your ideals, maybe possibly ho hoping to work with them or try to make amends for, regarding the situation? Any type of remarks, comments, concerns, questions to them?
I mean, yeah. I guess I'll just say that whenever we truly need to work together, I'd be down. If we want to work together more and the other side wants that, I'd be down. Um, but again, if we're going to be petty and give the people kind of, you know, worthless drama and just constant headlines of, oh, another statement made by this side and then the other side, then, we can do that too. But I am more in favor of actually doing good work since now we've kind of seen that this sort of fighting isn't like it's not that fun and it's not helpful. Um, yeah, I'll end it there.
All right. Representative Doge, similar, basically same question. Do you have any, Yep. Okay. Any remarks towards the uh, opposition party, the Liberty Party? Any comments, questions, concerns towards them regarding the situation, making amends, working with them, etc. Also, Doge, also known as the human typewriter.
Sorry, I do have one really quick thing at the end after Doge is finished. I just wanted to let you know.
Sure thing. He says you can still go right. You can go right now. I'm still typing. So what were you gonna say, Ray?
Yeah. Well, I want to give an apology to Alec, no, Thidecker, and PTY Siu, because while my comment or my statement was aimed towards more Josh and Rev for being the leaders of their caucus and kind of them being responsible, they obviously can't control what their representatives do IRL, and the representatives themselves IRL. When stuff comes up, they can't make sessions, and I just like wanted to make clear that I wasn't saying like if they had IRL circumstances that prevented them from attending the session like in person, then and I kind of brought that up. And if it was a big issue, then I apologize for that. And yeah, that's it.
All right. We're just gonna wait on Doge then. Doge said we should all do better. My personal opinion is that these statements should have no place within the House. I'm assuming there's more. Is that all, or you're still typing? Oh, okay. Bear with me. You guys have actually hit the record for the interview. You've basically reached an hour. Uh, Doge says, yeah, I give up. All right. Thank you then, Doge. All right. Well, this concludes the second part of the Liberty Party versus Union Party debacle. Uh, Thank you for joining me, both of you. Again, Majority Leader Ray and Representative Doge. Uh, thank you for uh, doing this interview with me and kind of getting your side out there. This will be posted. Probably not today. I'm not gonna lie, cause I'm tired and I'm trying to go to bed. But yeah,
Hmm.
thank you both.
Yeah. Thank you for having us.
All right.
Have a good night.